Everyone thought Tuka was weak-arsehole ordinary guy, just an orphan with barely any powers, ranked at the shitty bottom in a strange new world. But he made a promise, he'd come back stronger, and he'd make everyone who doubted him regret it. And he actually became the strongest motherfucker. Tuka was fucked up from the beginning. After his dad left for milk, Tuka's mom moved in with her bastard boyfriend. This nigga hit Tuka daily for no fucking reason. His mom didn't even care. She just watched corn, ignoring his pain. All of this left Tuka feeling fucked up. One day, Tuka woke up from a nightmare only to hear Sho, the class bully, harassing a quiet girl named Aka. Yes, this nigga was harassing a girl. Sho had snatched her book and was mocking her for reading. This nigga can't read himself, so he doesn't want anyone to read as well. Tuka thought, I'll step in and fuck him up and become a hero. But he knew he was weak arsehole. He stood up, told Sho to fuck off, and stared him down. Sho laughed, calling Tuka weak. But then, out of nowhere, Kiri, the most popular guy in their class, backed Tuka up, and Sho finally returned Aka's book. Tuka wondered why Kiri even helped, but before he could think about it, everything changed. Suddenly, the whole bus was transported to a totally different world. Bus took the role of Truck-kun seriously. They were standing in a strange place, with ancient buildings, armor-clad soldiers, and, at the center, a beautiful woman who introduced herself as the goddess Isis. She explained that her kingdom was under threat from a pervert demon king. In her world, she said, people with hidden powers were often summoned from other places to help defeat evil. This time, they'll be the one getting fucked. To go home, they had to help her defeat the demon king. If they didn't, they'd be stuck here. The students were shocked, wondering if she got a screw loose or something. One of them, Kiri, asked if there was a way back. The girl explained they'd have to complete a ritual to return home, but first they'd need to defeat the demon king and retrieve something called the eagle element. This shit is like Genshin Impact, fucking transported into new world and got quests to do. Everyone thought she is a lunatic, so she decided to show them their fucking hidden abilities. Each student approached a sage healing ball to test their powers. Some had high ranks with powerful abilities. Kiri had an A rank, Aka got an S rank, and as Tuka stepped up, the crystal glowed faintly, showing he was a fucking E ranker, the weakest level. This nigga is going to become Sung Jinwoo, the Shadow Monarch. And this bitch barely even looked at him, moving on to the next student. After testing everyone, the goddess announced a final ritual. She called Tuka forward and sent him into a dark cave, saying he'd have to survive there to prove himself. If he couldn't, he wouldn't make it back. Clearly saying, go into the cave and fuck yourself, you weak motherfucker. The cave was full of danger, monsters everywhere. Tuka ran as fast as he could, dodging a terrifying creature that was hot on his heels. He stumbled, terrified he'd meet his end right there. But then what in the plot armor, he got courage of the weak. His paralysis spell, which he thought was too weak to be useful, actually worked. It paralyzed the monster in place, giving him a chance to escape. Another monster cornered him, but he tried the spell again, and it actually fucking worked. For once, Tuka's simple-ass power was enough to save his life. Exhausted but alive, and finally, Tuka realized something important. Even if his strength wasn't as flashy as others, he could still survive and even fight back. Finally, Man, with new determination, he promised himself he'd get stronger, no matter what. And when he made it out of that cave, he'd show everyone his dick who called him weak just how wrong they were. Tuka is underground, trapped in a maze full of monsters. He realizes he has a limited amount of mana, the energy that powers his magic, but he's still hoping to make it to the surface. Panicking about running out, he decides to stop worrying and just focus. He tries using his paralyze spell on a monster, but it doesn't work. Tuka figures out he can't keep using the same spell on the same target. Quickly, he puts the creature to sleep and poisons it. This works, but he's running low on mana and getting more and more exhausted. Out of nowhere, he sees a wave of monsters charging at him. He says Bismillah, and he paralyzes as many as he can, but he's nearly out of mana. Just as he's about to pass out, he gets a notification. He leveled up to 258. His strength is restored a bit. This is the power of Bismillah, so he keeps fighting and paralyzing monsters as fast as they come at him. His skills are leveling up, and he realizes he can now target multiple monsters at once. This could be the break he needs to survive. As he fights, he notices a poisonous monster he poisoned earlier is dead. Bro is becoming a patriarch of Tang Clan. He says Alhamdulillah and checks his stats and sees that everything, especially his mana, is way higher now. Tuka knows mana is his love of life. Without it, he's fucked. After days of battling, he hits level 395. He's exhausted, but his skills are stronger than ever. He keeps leveling up until he reaches 957, clearing out enemies along the way. Then he comes across a crystal he feels might be a key to escape. However, he realizes it's guarded by a powerful creature called the Soul Leader. Tuka tries to paralyze it, but it fires a beam that injures him. He realizes it's unlike any monster he's faced before. With his mana almost empty and exhaustion setting in, Tuka decides he might not survive. But he manages to use his skills cleverly, waiting for the right moment. When the Soul Leader lets its guard down, Tuka paralyzes and poisons it. The Soul Leader is defeated, and Tuka feels a surge of relief. He's finally strong enough to leave the ruins. Outside, Tuka meets a young slime monster. Oh my. Is this Rimuru? Feeling a bit of kinship, decides to keep it as a companion, naming it Piggy Maru. I feel bad for Piggy Rimuru. Tuka was in a new city and trying to blend in. He threw in some friendly talk about the city's beauty, but a guard teased him, calling him a country glazer. She let him through anyway. Mercenaries like him were needed to help conquer nearby ruins. He made his way to an inn to book a room. The innkeeper didn't seem too friendly, but Tuka slapped his cheeks with few coins, and suddenly the innkeeper was all smiles, happy to help. Tuka, using the name Hottie Skull, went to his room, dried his clothes, and then went out to explore the town. It felt like a typical medieval town, and he was curious if any shops here sold magical items. When he spotted the Adventurers Guild, he figured it was enough for one day and headed back to the inn for dinner. While eating, Tuka noticed a group of locals laughing and discussing which military regiment was the strongest. They all agreed on one thing: the Black Dragon Knights were the toughest, led by the hero Slayer, who was as strong as an entire army. Tuka listened in, filing away the information for later. He then returned to his room, feeding his pet slime, who ate eagerly. Tuka knew his next mission was to find someone who could read a powerful scroll he carried. He'd either have to track down a forbidden witch or venture to the lands of powerful monsters. The next day, Tuka joined a crowd gathering near the ruins, where Lord Ked Hurley announced a newly discovered flaw in the ruins. Anyone who found the legendary Dragonite Chalice could earn a reward of 300 gold coins. Tuka was excited to hear he'd also get to keep any monster materials he found. While waiting in line to register, Tuka noticed a man pestering a cloaked girl, guessing she might be the famous elven captain, Sarah Ashin. When he tried to pull off her hood to check her ears, she didn't have the pointed ears of an elf, and he stormed off, embarrassed. Later, Tuka ran into the girl, who introduced herself as Mist. They shopped together, with Tuka noticing she seemed worn out, likely from lack of sleep. He paid her for her help and told her she should rest. Heading into the ruins, he encountered a miniature minotaur. Tuka easily took it down with poison, surprising other mercenaries. Continuing his journey, he overheard some men plotting against Mist, planning to put her in harm's way in the dungeon. Angered by their plan, Tuka confronted them, paralyzing them with his magic and leaving them to the monsters. Eventually, Tuka found the Dragonite Chalice, guarded by a stone monster. He paralyzed and poisoned it before it could move, then took the chalice. Mist arrived and was surprised Tuka had gotten there first. She agreed to guard him as thanks for the chalice, and they continued exploring. Mist's fighting skills impressed Tuka, especially when she explained that monsters with golden eyes held more power and XP. She even introduced him to her spirit partner, who helped her hide her true elf identity. The next day, Mist went to collect her reward, but at the ceremony, a magician with the power to break illusions was present, and Mist feared her secret might be exposed. Meanwhile, Tuka learned from local chatter that Mist's identity as the Elven Princess had been revealed. Dragon Knights were sent to find her, and Tuka rushed to her princess, oh my baby Yi. Mist fought bravely but was getting overwhelmed. Tuka arrived just in time, like a prince, paralyzing the attackers and giving Mist a chance to escape. What is this Mario reference type shit?
Save me, Mario!
Tuka apologizes to Sarah, explaining that people in Mills misunderstood her outfit. She feels embarrassed for thinking he had inappropriate intentions. Haha, I had sexual intentions, but I knew you'll think like that, so I actually... Sarah, curious, asks why he's helping her. Because of your outfit. Tuka reveals she reminds him of a family member he couldn't abandon, showing her that he's truly a kind person. Suddenly, they notice the poisoned dragon is dead. Tuka releases a paralyzed enemy, Gizon, and demands honest answers. Gizon mocks him, warning that the Black Dragon Knights will retaliate, but Tuka stands firm, saying he'll end Gizon's suffering by turning off the poison's non-lethal effect. Sarah demands to know who wants her dead, but before Gizon can answer, a lance falls from the sky, killing him. Above, she sees the Black Dragon Knights, led by Sivit Gartland, their strongest member. Meanwhile, the Holy Empire's Emperor wakes from a nightmare. Back in the forest, Sivit talks with his knights, revealing they're following orders straight from the Emperor himself. Hearing this, Sarah is stunned and heartbroken to learn her former Emperor wants her dead. Sivit challenges Sarah to a duel. However, he shifts his attention to Tuka, sensing something different about him. Tuka grins, enjoying the thrill of the dangerous situation, and throws out a fake name. Sivit isn't fooled, but is intrigued by Tuka's calmness in the face of death. Realizing Sivit seeks a worthy opponent, Tuka tells him he's been sent by the goddess and offers to grow strong enough to be Sivit's future rival. Haha fucker, I'm just saving myself, retard. Sivit, fascinated by Tuka's boldness, lets him live, looking forward to their promised fight. He's actually retard. However, when Sivit intends to take Sarah, Tuka insists she's coming with him. Sivit, impressed by Tuka's audacity, allows both of them to go. Bros Ultra Pro Max retard. Tuka, not trusting this, paralyzes the knights with poison. Sivit, though weak, still fights, and Tuka respects his willpower, vowing to see him dead. Retard deserved this. Later, Sarah realizes that Tuka is focused on revenge, and she shares her own grudge against the bitch, pledging to help him. Tuka accepts, though he warns her his quest is selfish. They part, promising to support each other.
If you enjoyed this recap, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Have a great day.